Hi, I'm Serena, and just like my name, I'm part fish. Not literally. You'll see what I'm talking about. Before I continue, please like and subscribe to MSA. I was actually born at sea. My parents owned this big old ship and worked in the freight business, so I pretty much grew up loving the water. I never got seasick, swam with the dolphins like it was no big deal, and even took the wheel sometimes with my dad. It was my dream to be the youngest sailor to do a round trip around the world, and I worked really hard for that. Since I was homeschooled and Dad didn't have much time, my only source of information was the internet and Mr. Ethan. He was Dad's best friend and an experienced sailor. Every time he'd come over with a new consignment, he'd get me all these cool navigation gadgets. But the best part was when he taught me how to navigate by the stars, listen to the wind, and read paper maps.
Technology is great, but knowing how to read the sea is what makes you a true sailor.
Life on the sea was amazing, but everything changed on my 17th birthday. Dad had gone to the city to get me gifts, and I was waiting for him when I saw him talking to some suspicious-looking men, and then they shoved a bundle of cash in his hands and walked away. What was that all about?
Nothing, just some work thing. And look what I got you.
Dad quickly changed the subject, and I got distracted by the gifts and forgot all about those shady men. But a few days later, I was passing by my parents' cabin when I heard them having a conversation with Mr. Ethan, and it did not sound friendly.
I don't think this is a good idea.
That's because you don't have a family, Ethan, but we have a daughter, and we need to think about her future.
She's like my daughter too.
Then maybe you need to make smarter decisions. Then I heard the door open, and Mr. Ethan walked out, and I never saw him again. I kept asking my parents what really happened, but all they would say was that Mr. Ethan got a better job in the city and wouldn't be coming back. I felt bad, since Uncle Ethan was practically family, but my parents didn't want to talk about it, so I didn't push, and life went on. Things were fine for a while, until a month later. I was busy cleaning the deck when I heard some noise. I looked down and saw a boy screaming for help, flopping his arms in the water like a rabid chicken. Without thinking, I grabbed a life buoy, tossed it overboard, and dove in after him. I made him grab the life buoy and turned back to swim to our ship, but to my horror, it had already started moving away. I screamed, but no one heard me, so I had no choice but to swim to shore. Exhausted, we collapsed on the sand as soon as we reached land.
You're bleeding.
Thanks. Sorry, what? The boy wrapped his shirt around my wound, and I couldn't stop staring at his perfect body.
All better. I'm Jason, by the way. Thanks for saving me.
Serena, what were you even doing that far in the sea?
I was at a yacht party when one of my friends decided fireworks were a great idea. I freaked out, lost my balance, and the next thing I know, I was struggling for my life. My friends were too busy clicking selfies, so none of them saw me. I really owe you my life.
It's no big deal. Anyway, my parents... Oh my god, my parents! They must be losing it! I scrambled to my feet and ran to a phone booth to call them, but no one answered. I tried again, then called Mr. Ethan, but still nothing. I kept trying, hoping someone would pick up, but no one did. Jason noticed my worry and suggested we waited out at his place, and since I had nowhere else to go, I agreed. We were in a cab, and Jason was telling me how his dad was a diplomat from England, when suddenly my stomach started turning. This was the first time I was in a car, and it was making me sick. But before I could warn Jason, I threw up all over his clothes. We were getting cleaned up at a nearby restroom when suddenly my eyes caught the TV and I froze. My parents' faces were plastered on the screen, and the news anchor was saying that there had been a bust at the port that night and my parents had been arrested on charges of smuggling gold.
Serena, are you okay? You're not blinking.
But I couldn't talk. My parents were criminals? How?
Okay, now I'm seriously freaking out. Maybe we should go to a hospital first.
What? No, I'm fine. Can we go home? I don't feel too good. The air conditioning is making me dizzy. Jason agreed, and we got another cab. His place was nothing short of a palace, but all I could focus on was the shocking news. That night, I tossed and turned, missing my home and trying to make sense of everything, till eventually I passed out. And the next morning, I woke up to this girl screaming in my face.
Get off my boyfriend's bed! Thief! Intruder! How the heck did you get up here?
Listen, I tried to explain, but she wasn't having it. Instead, She grabbed a ridiculous vase and started chasing me around the room. Jason heard the noise and walked in, and as soon as she saw him, she dropped the vase and pulled him into a hug.
Oh, my poor baby. I can't believe you fell into the ocean like that. I cried so much. My eyes got all puffy. I took 3 snail mucus facials to calm my face down. So terrible.
I'm glad you're okay, Cora. This is Serena, by the way. She saved my life. If not for her, I'd be shark fodder by now.
Really? Then you must be a really brave Serena. I'm so sorry I screamed at you. I thought with the way you're dressed, you must be some thief. My bad. Anyway, baby boo, I'm so glad you're okay. That means you can attend the fundraiser tonight. Oh my god, that reminds me I need to get my nails done. See you later. Bye, Sabrina.
Serena.
Sorry about that. Cora can be, well, she's something. Anyway, I spoke to my dad, and he thinks he can help track down your parents. It's the least I can do to repay you for saving my life.
It's really not that big of a deal.
Of course it is. I owe you my life, and your parents must be worried sick about you.
Honestly, they're probably thrilled I'm not around. I'm not exactly the model child.
I refuse to believe that. You seem like someone people would love to have around. I know, I do.
He gave me a warm smile that made my heart skip a beat. Just then, his butler told us that breakfast was ready, and we went downstairs. After eating, I borrowed Jason's phone and lied to him, saying my parents answered and assured me they were okay and would pick me up in a few days. I couldn't tell him the truth, and with his dad being a diplomat, I wasn't sure how much more complicated things could get. So I asked Jason if it was okay to crash at his place for a few more days, and he gladly agreed. That evening, as he got ready for a fundraiser, I slipped out of the house and went to the police station where my parents were being detained. I thought I'd talk to them and clear up the confusion, but when I got there, I heard the cops talking to the chief.
Some of the gold we've recovered is fake. We're pretty sure these smugglers hid them somewhere.
Or maybe their daughter has it. Track her down!
They were talking about me. My heart immediately started pounding, and I quickly left. Things were even worse than I thought. I was still thinking about it the next day when Jason told me that Cora was having a party at her place and if I'd be willing to go. I could use a distraction. So I said yes, but I had nothing to wear. So Jason took me shopping. Wait, what just happened? Did you just do magic?
What? No, that's just my credit card. Why do you look so shocked? You've never seen a credit card before?
I mean, I have heard of it, but never seen one in real life. And is this like real money?
Pretty much. You want to try?
And Jason let me swipe everywhere we went after that. I was so happy. I couldn't stop giggling. But then we went to Cora's place, and all my happiness faded.
Hey, handsome. Oh, I see you got Marina with you.
Serena! Seriously, Cora, it's not a very hard name to remember.
I know, babe. I'm sorry. It's just that my brain malfunctions when I see your gorgeous face.
Whatever, I'm gonna get drinks.
The second Jason left, Cora's smile dropped, and she glared at me.
Why are you buzzing around my boyfriend like a bee? Get off him and go to whatever rat hole you climbed out of.
What's your problem? Jason's only trying to help me, okay? I'm not interested in him romantically.
Really? That drool on your left lip suggests otherwise. Listen to me very carefully. Jason is my boyfriend, and soon we will be getting engaged to marry. If you come in between my perfect life, I will end you.
I started to say something, but Jason returned, and Cora acted like nothing had happened. Throughout the evening, she tried everything to put me down, but Jason kept defending me, which only made her angrier. I was managing fine until I saw Cora's dad, and my heart nearly stopped. He was the chief of police I'd seen at the station. I wanted to hide, but with Cora watching me like a hawk, I pretended everything was fine. Luckily, Jason and I left soon after, but from that day on, Cora was always around. She practically moved into Jason's life, inviting him to parties, staying for dinner, never leaving his side. I get that she was his girlfriend, but she was extremely clumsy and annoying.
We should totally have a boat party.
I'm not so sure, Cora. I'm still a bit shaken after that last incident.
Oh, come on. It'll be fun. Plus, my brother Levi just got his boating license, and he's dying to show off. I'm sure you'll have a blast once we're on that boat.
Can Serena come?
I don't see why not.
Cora smiled, but inside, I knew she was burning. And the next morning, we all met at the port. We were boarding the boat when I felt something was off. The sky was darker than it should have been, and birds were flying in the opposite direction, a sure sign that a storm was brewing. Guys, I think there's a storm coming.
Yeah, right. Look, the sky's clear and the weather forecast says it's gonna be a sunny day. If you're too scared, feel free to stay behind, but don't ruin the fun for the rest of us.
And Cora just hopped onto the boat. I knew it wasn't safe, but I couldn't leave Jason, so I shoved my fears aside and followed. But 10 minutes into the sail, the sky grew dark, and the wind got stronger, and the waves got bigger.
We need to turn back, now! The computer's gone haywire! The navigation's completely shot!
Shut it down. We have to let the boat drift with the waves.
Are you out of your mind?
I knew exactly what I was doing, but Cora wasn't about to back down. She started arguing with me, making everything worse. Then suddenly, the boat got slammed by a massive wave. Cora screamed as she lost her balance and tumbled overboard into the churning sea. Without another thought, I quickly tied a rope around my waist and threw the other end to Jason. After he secured the rope, I jumped into the sea. A huge wave immediately washed over me, but I gathered my strength, swam up to Cora, and dragged her back to the boat. Once we were on the boat, I let her off the deck, wrapped her in a warm blanket, and got her some tea.
I don't need your tea. I nearly drowned thanks to you. I could have swum back just fine, but no, you just had to swoop in and play the hero, didn't you? Seriously, Serena, why do you always have to be such an attention seeker?
Before I could say anything, Jason interrupted.
Serena saved your life! You should be thanking her!
As if. And why are you constantly defending her? Do you even know who she is or where she comes from? Do your parents even know you have a girl staying with you while they're away? Your dad's running for mayor. How do you think he'll react when he finds out?
My father is a good man. He'll be proud to know I helped someone in need. Now, if you're done being mean for the day, we've got a boat to take care of.
Jason took my hand and went inside, leaving Cora sobbing. Soon, the storm ended, but the navigation still wasn't working. So I waited for the sky to clear up and used the stars to find our way back home. I was sitting on the deck when Jason walked over.
I'm sorry about Cora. She's always been bitter. Ever since her mom left, she's changed for the worse.
I get that she's been through a lot, but that doesn't excuse treating everyone like trash. Why are you even dating her?
We were close friends, so we started dating. But as we got older, I realized we had nothing in common. Cora kept promising to change, and I kept giving her chances, but now I'm done. Especially after how she treated you. You saved my life, Serena, and hers, and she insulted you. I can't be with someone as mean and selfish as her.
Jason looked so sad, and I wanted to reach out and hug him. But just then, I noticed the boat approaching the shore, so I got busy tying it up instead. That night, I couldn't stop thinking. Jason had been nothing but amazing to me, and here I was, lying to his face about my parents. I was no better than Cora. I'd used him for my own selfish reasons too, but not anymore. I was gonna come clean to Jason first thing in the morning, except when I woke up, I saw Cora, her dad, Mr. Ethan, and a group of policemen waiting for me. As soon as they saw me, they marched over with handcuffs. What's going on? Mr. Ethan, why are you here? Why didn't you answer any of my calls? Let me go! But Mr. Ethan didn't answer. I didn't even realize I was screaming until Jason came running, shoving the police officer aside.
What's happening?
Jason, this girl is a criminal. She's been lying to you. Look, those are her parents, and they're rotting in jail for smuggling.
That's not true. I mean, yeah, they are my parents, and I knew they were in jail, but...
But what? You lied to me? All this time, I thought you were my savior, Serena. If you had told me, I would have helped you. But to find out that you're a criminal...
I'm not a criminal, and neither are my parents.
Let's find out, shall we?
Cora smirked as she ordered one of the policemen to search my room. Within minutes, they found all the missing gold. My heart sank as Jason's face twisted in heartbreak. I tried to tell him I was being framed, but he wouldn't listen. The police dragged me away to the station, where they threw me into a cell with my parents. The moment I saw them, I rushed forward, hugging them tightly as I sobbed. And then finally, Mom told me everything. It's Ethan, Serena. We caught him smuggling and asked him to stop, but he mocked us and continued anyway. When we threatened to expose him, he turned on us. The night you went missing, we went to shore to look for you, and that's when he got us arrested. Why didn't you tell me when you found out about Mr. Ethan? You worshipped that man. We didn't want to hurt you, and we never imagined he'd betray us like this. We're so sorry, Serena. You're in this mess because of us. I'm just glad we're finally together. The next morning, we were brought before the judge, and I was shaking with fear. Cora was smirking at me, and I wanted to punch her in the face, but somehow I calmed down. The proceedings were about to begin when suddenly Jason showed up with his lawyer. He approached the bench, and after a brief discussion with the judge, Jason came over to me.
After you were arrested, I went to talk to Cora's dad. I overheard him talking to Mr. Ethan. It turns out they were both involved in the smuggling ring. Cora was the one who planted the gold in your room. She was trying to help her father, I guess. Anyway, I recorded everything, so this should be enough to get you and your parents out of here.
Thank you. I don't know how I can ever repay you.
Just teach me to swim, so I don't end up needing to be saved again.
Deal. As predicted, Jason's lawyer presented the evidence, and my parents and I were freed, while Cora, her dad, and Mr. Ethan faced charges. We never heard from Mr. Ethan again, but Jason and I are still in touch, and I can tell he's a great swimmer.